Hello, bestie. How are you? I hope you're well. I am well myself. My name is Wanyiha Jean Dutz, and in today's video, I'm making some dinners. So come along and make them with me. I started with preparing my cauliflower, which I later boiled and mashed with some cream. That is what I'm going to serve with this fish. But it so happens that I didn't keep the video for that cauliflower mash. So we're going to have to do it again. But for now, let's just continue with the fish. And I applied some oil and added some spices of choice. I also added some dry rosemary just for extra flavor, and I'm going to be air frying this. And I added some minutes to that. 15 minutes wasn't enough, so I did like 25. So with this, I'll be serving the fish with cauliflower mash and some spinach. This is creamed spinach, mildly creamed. So I'm starting with frying my onion, and as it gets brown, I will add some butter. And then the frozen spinach, this I got from Great Value brand, the Walmart brand, and I will just add salt to that, nothing more. To make it creamy, I'll be adding some creamed cheese or whipped cream cheese and a little heavy cream, and that will make it nice and creamy. But I'm going to be adding no spices, just to keep the flavor really mild. Okay, so that's the cream cheese, and I'm going to add some cream, some heavy cream, and I'm going to make sure that it gets very, very hot. Stir it a little bit, make sure the seasoning is right, adjust if it's not, and you can add a little bit of black pepper, makes it really, really good. All right, so I'm going to be making my fish. This is how I make it two fish. So I fry the onion and add a bit of garlic, and then added a bit of butter because I want to make a creamy sauce for the shrimp and salmon. So I added some colored peppers as well. I had green and yellow, and then I added some cumin, paprika, and seasoning salt. I also had some wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, and I added. You don't have to add tomatoes in this kind of dish, but I added just half a cup. I wanted to make it have an extra kick, and I added the cream. You don't have to add much, and you can keep it just this thick, but I wanted to have a bit of gravy. So I added my shrimp. It's already cooked, so it didn't have to take long. But since the shrimp was frozen, it produced extra liquid, but that's fine because of whatever else I'm serving with. And then I added my salmon, my air fried salmon. It's already cooked, so I'm just stewing it for a bit. It took about 5 more minutes. Then I had added some dry parsley for extra flavor, extra aroma. And if you try nothing else, do try this meal because the various flavors just come together beautifully. So if you keep some of the dishes quite plain without adding much spices, and then this is it's saucy, it's creamy, and it's also not spicy in the sense of heat, but the various spices make it so flavorful. So that's how I served it with some steamed green beans, and it was really delicious. So next on is my pork. I served this pork with broccoli and some guacamole. For the guys, we also added rice. So I'm making this broccoli a bit different from how I usually do. So I'm going to boil it, but not too much. I want it to still be crunchy. And on here, I'm going to add some oil. And then I will add the broccoli, the steamed broccoli. See, it's still green. You don't need to add anything to make it green. Just don't overcook. And then to this, I will add some salt. And then I will add some rack onion, that is dry onions, dry chopped onions. And this, as I cook this, it will be totally dry. It doesn't have stock. But at the very end, I'm going to add some soy sauce for extra flavor. So if you cook your broccoli this way, it tastes so different from how I usually do. And I was going for this because I wanted an extra kick. It really tastes different and very, very nice. It goes very well with the pork, especially if you're not serving with anything else. On this occasion, we had some guacamole, so that is what we'll be using. And hubby got lucky because there was a leftover bacon. So when you're doing like a keto diet, you want a variety of oils, variety of meats for protein. It doesn't have to be big chunks of meat, but yeah, if you've kept it really healthy and lean, you can always have extra. But fat and oils are very important. So you see, there's a bit of liquid here because of the soy sauce, but it brings the flavor together very nicely. Alrighty, so I served it with guacamole. And the pork with some bacon. I added some cashews. This is how I did the meat, just directly on the air fryer for 25 minutes on each side, because with pork you have to make sure that you cook it through and through. So that's how it was looking. Very delicious. The guys really enjoyed. I threw in some almonds, some sliced almond, just for extra variety and flavors. And for the guys, they added some steamed white rice. It was really good. Okay, moving on. Now we make this Kenyan dish. This is a favorite for many, and I'm going to make it with a twist because there's some green vegetables that I used to make this green dish, but I don't have them. So I'm going to be using spinach and green peas in their stead. So I start with cooking my maize. This is white maize. It's not corn, it's white maize or white corn. That works. So I'm cooking that for 30 minutes in the instant cooker, and then releasing some steam and adding my potatoes that I was peeling there. I'm using red potatoes. And on the other side, I'm going to be boiling these peas. These were frozen peas, so I use whatever is accessible. So then I'm going to add my baby spinach. I added a whole 5 pound bag, and that is how much it shrinks. Yeah, so when I drain this, I will be adding it to the blender, and you want to cook all the different ingredients of this meal salted. Okay, so I started with milk just to make sure the food is not too hot in my blender, and it can get quite thick, so you need to keep checking that and just stirring. Make sure to stir in the peas so that they can be a grip. Hubby came into the rescue and finished blending that while I mashed the potatoes and corn or maize together. So there's a method to this. You want to go line by line if that is a possibility. So it's something you'd have to see when you're actually doing it. So because I'm mashing it with my hand, you want to do it and make sure that all the potatoes are well mashed, and you also want to keep that mix very dry. The potatoes and maize, you want it very dry, because once you add the spinach and peas, they'll be quite it can be quite watery, so you want it dry so that your mukimo comes together a bit more solid. So what gives this mukimo a very special flavor that most people are not able to place is the onions. You want a red onion and you want to cook it until it's brown. Actually, I didn't do a good job of this. It's not as brown as it should be. And you want to add some butter or margarine to the oil and then mash it all together. Keep it aside and make your stew. All right, so my beef is about 3 pounds, but I wanted to make it for 2 meal sessions. That is dinner and lunch. But we again were not available during lunch, so we had it for 2 dinners. That is how I get away with making less dinners for every day. Anyway, so I added my spices to this, always paprika, seasoning salt. Sometimes you can add cumin or whatever makes your beef taste good. I added a bit of oregano and bay leaf. I've had this bay leaf for quite a while, but it's the dry kind, so it works okay. While I was boiling, I got some stock and I kept it aside um, for a while, and then I added it back to make a thick stew. This went very well with my mukimo. But in the meantime, we make some cabbage. They call it steamed cabbage, but it's not quite steamed. It's like a stir fry. So red onion, oil. You don't want to add anything like garlic in this, but you can add some butter because you're going for a very specific flavor. Another thing that is good to add, you can add some dry parsley or dry coriander. It works very well. But this is one dish you can keep quite simple. Also, black pepper works very well. So just shredded cabbage with onions and you serve it as a side with the mukimo um, and the beef. Goes also very well with chicken for those mukimo lovers. So this is how we dished it out. Uh, this for keto lovers and with the mukimo for the guys. Thank you so much for watching, loves. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.